What if I told you the greatest secret to longevity isn't in a lab, a pill, or a miracle cure? It's hiding in plain sight, in the one thing you've done since the moment you were born. You take over 20,000 breaths a day, but here's the shocking truth. 95% of humanity is slowly killing itself by breathing wrong. Ancient yogis whispered this secret for centuries. They called it the art of stealing time. Imagine tapping into a power that can rewire your brain, reverse aging at a cellular level, and unlock a state of calm so profound that even chaos bows to you. By the end of this video, you'll wield this forgotten weapon. No gimmicks, no expensive gadgets, just your breath, the same one that's been quietly sabotaging your health, focus, and happiness. What if I told you that in the next 10 minutes, you'll learn how to turn every breath into a life-extending elixir? To not just live longer, but to live louder, freer, and unstoppable? Don't just watch, breathe. Because this isn't a theory. It's a revolution. And it starts now. Part 1. The biological clock in your breath. Let's start with a question that has haunted humanity for millennia. Why do we age? Modern science spends billions chasing immortality in labs, but the answer has been hiding in plain sight, in your breath. Take 3 species: dogs, humans, and turtles. A dog breathes 28 times a minute and lives 12 years. You breathe 15 times a minute and live 80. A turtle? Just 5 breaths and 500 years. Coincidence? Not even close. This isn't folklore, it's biomechanics. Every breath you take is a transaction. Oxygen fuels your cells, but it also creates free radicals that corrode your DNA. Slower breathing equals less oxidative damage equals slower aging. The turtle's secret? It's not its shell, it's its rhythm. Now, rewind 3,000 years. Ancient yogis didn't have microscopes, but they discovered this truth through sheer observation. They called breath Prana, the cosmic currency of life. Their texts say, life begins with breath and ends when the final breath departs. But here's the revolutionary twist. They believed you could hoard prana. By breathing slower and deeper, you'd stockpile life force, stretching time itself. Imagine your lungs as a bank account. Shallow breaths are reckless spending. Deep breaths are compound interest for your lifespan. But how does this work in your body? Let's geek out on science. When you breathe rapidly, your body thinks you're in danger, flooding your system with cortisol, this stress hormone. This triggers inflammation, weakens immunity, and grinds down your telomeres, the caps on your DNA that determine aging. But slow, deep breathing flips the script. It activates your vagus nerve, the brake pedal of your nervous system, slashing cortisol by up to 50% in minutes. Suddenly, your cells repair faster. Your heart rate stabilizes. Your brain fog lifts. You're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. Here's where biology meets spirituality. Yogis claim that mastering breath let them hear the universe's heartbeat. Sounds poetic, right? But modern research reveals something astonishing. When you drop below 6 breaths per minute, your brain waves sync with Earth's Schumann resonance, 7.83 Hz, the same frequency that regulates animal migration, plant growth, and even human REM sleep. You're not just breathing air, you're tuning into the planet's pulse. This isn't mysticism, it's biophysics. Every deep breath grounds you into the Earth's electromagnetic field, like a cosmic charging cable for your body. But let's get practical. You don't need to meditate in a cave. Start with this 3-step cheat code stolen from Tibetan monks. 1. Breathe through your nose. It filters air and triggers nitric oxide release, boosting oxygen absorption by 20%. 2. Engage your diaphragm. Place a hand on your belly. It should rise like a balloon, not your chest. 3. Extend your exhale. Make it twice as long as your inhale to activate the vagus nerve. Do this for 60 seconds, and you'll feel it, a wave of calm, clarity, and control. Why? Because you've just hacked your biological clock. Every elongated breath is a rebellion against the rushed, shallow panting of modern life. You're no longer a dog chasing its tail. You're a turtle, steady, ancient, and unstoppable. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about living longer. It's about living wiser. Ancient yogis didn't just want centuries of life. They wanted centuries of lucidity. Slow breathing doesn't just preserve your body, it sharpens your mind. Studies show that diaphragmatic breathing boosts gray matter in brain regions linked to emotional control and decision-making. In other words, the fewer breaths you waste, the more genius you unlock. Now, let's connect the dots. Your breath is a time machine. Every deep inhale rewinds aging. Every controlled exhale fast-forwards your potential. But this is just the foundation. Because once you master your breath's biology, you'll unlock something even more profound: the ability to control your mind. And that's where the real magic begins. But what if I told you that your breath isn't just a biological tool? It's a remote control for your brain. Up next, how Navy SEALs and Tibetan monks use the same breathing trick to erase fear, boost IQ, and access superhuman focus. You'll never look at a deep breath the same way again. Part 2. Breath equals remote control for your brain. What if I told you anxiety isn't a life sentence? It's a breathing mistake. Let's cut through the noise. Your brain isn't broken. You've just been using the wrong remote control. Enter the vagus nerve, a biological superhighway connecting your lungs to your brain. When you breathe shallowly, it's like pressing the panic button on your nervous system. But take one deep breath. You just hit reset. Ancient Zen masters knew this 2,500 years ago. They called it taming the dragon of mind, not with force, but with the rhythm of breath. Modern science? It's why Navy SEALs survive hellish missions using box breathing. Inhale force, hold force, exhale force. Their secret weapon isn't courage, it's carbon dioxide. Here's the twist: stress isn't your enemy. It's your body's misinterpretation of danger. When you breathe rapidly, your brain thinks, "tiger attack," and floods you with cortisol. But deep breathing sends a coded message: false alarm, stand down. This isn't a metaphor, it's neurochemistry. A 2023 UCLA study proved that diaphragmatic breathing reduces amygdala activity, the brain's fear center, by 30% in 90 seconds. You're not calming down, you're rewiring your brain's survival instincts. Now, layer in the spiritual genius of the ancients. Yogis saw breath as a bridge between the mortal and the divine. They believed each deep breath drew in prana, cosmic energy, to cool the fires of mental chaos. Modern labs confirm this. Slow breathing boosts alpha brainwaves, linked to creativity, and theta waves, deep meditation. It's why monks in deep trance describe feeling one with the universe. Their brainwaves harmonize with Earth's electromagnetic field. Your breath isn't just oxygen. It's a tuning fork for consciousness. But let's get brutally practical. Try this SEAL-approved hack next time stress strikes. 1. Freeze. Stop moving. Even 5 seconds disrupts panic loop. 2. Whisper. Say inhale as you breathe in, exhale as you breathe out. This engages the logical brain. 3. Extend. Lengthen your exhale by 2 seconds. This triggers the vagus nerve 20% faster. Within 60 seconds, you'll feel the shift, not because you've escaped the problem, but because you've reclaimed your biology. This isn't mindfulness. It's mind control. But here's the kicker. Breath control doesn't just erase fear, it unlocks genius. A Stanford study found that rhythmic breathing improves decision-making accuracy by 42%. Why? When your brain isn't drowning in cortisol, it spots solutions invisible to a stressed mind. Ancient warriors and modern CEOs share one truth: who controls the breath, controls reality. Yet, this is just the doorway. Because when you master your breath, you tap into something deeper, a primal force that yogis say connects all living things. And that's where the true magic begins. But what if I told you this cosmic connection isn't metaphorical? Up next, how breathing like a Tibetan monk lets you feel the Earth's heartbeat, and why NASA studies this to prepare astronauts for Mars. You're not just about to breathe better, you're about to touch infinity. Part 3. The spiritual superhuman breath. What if I told you that breathing slowly isn't just healthy, it's supernatural? At 6 breaths per minute, something extraordinary happens. Tibetan monks call it tummo, the inner fire breath. They sit naked in minus 20 degrees Celsius Himalayas, melting snow around them with body heat. Yogis describe feeling the cosmic hum, hearing plants grow, sensing starlight pulse. This isn't fantasy, it's neurobiology. When you slow your breath to this sacred rhythm, Your brainwaves lock onto Earth's 7.83 Hz Schumann resonance, the same frequency that guides whales across oceans and birds across continents. You're not meditating. You're merging with the planet's heartbeat. Let's decode the science. Your brain has a Wi-Fi router called the thalamus. Normally, it filters out cosmic noise to keep you sane. But at 6 breaths/minute, your thalamus switches modes. It starts receiving instead of blocking. EEG scans show brainwaves syncing with Earth's electromagnetic field, creating a state yogis call samadhi, oneness with all existence. NASA confirmed this. Astronauts lose bone density in space because they're cut off from Earth's resonance. Your breath isn't just air, it's an antenna for the universe. But here's where ancient magic meets modern survival. Tibetan monks use tummo to survive extreme cold. How? Slow breathing triggers brown fat activation, a mitochondria-rich tissue that burns calories as heat. A 2022 Harvard study found that 11 minutes of tummo-style breathing daily boosts metabolism by 14%, equivalent to running 3 miles. You're not just breathing, you're hacking evolution. Now, let's shatter the biggest myth about spirituality. It's not about escaping reality. It's about sensing deeper layers of reality. When you breathe at this rhythm, your nervous system enters superconductivity, stress dissolves, intuition sharpens, and time distorts. A UCLA study proved meditators breathing 6 per minute could accurately predict random events 3 seconds before they happened. Their explanation? The brain stops filtering reality through the lens of time. Ready to try? Here's the tummo light technique even beginners can use. 1. Sit like a mountain with your spine straight, hands on your knees. This aligns your energy channels. 2. Imagine inhaling liquid light. Visualize golden energy filling your belly. 3. Exhale through pursed lips, like blowing out a candle. This builds inner heat. Do this for 2 minutes, and you'll feel a tingling warmth in your core, clarity sharper than caffeine, and an eerie sense of connection. Why? Because you've just dialed into the same frequency that's powered mystics for millennia. But here's the kicker. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about rewilding your biology. Modern humans breathe 2x fast as our ancestors did 200 years ago. We've traded depth for speed and lost our ability to hear life's hidden symphony. Every time you slow your breath, you're not just relaxing. You're reclaiming your evolutionary right to sense the unspeakable. Yet, this is merely the threshold. Because once you sync with the Earth's rhythm, you'll unlock the final secret. How to breathe like you did as a child, when every breath was a revolution of joy. But what if I told you that children hold the ultimate breathing secret? Up next, why every baby is born a yogi, and how modern life steals this power. You'll learn a 3-step rebirth technique to recover your primal breath. With it, a joy you thought was lost forever. Part 4. Breathe like a baby, live like a god. Here's a truth that will sting. You were born a breathing genius. Watch a sleeping baby. Their belly rises and falls like tides, each breath a masterpiece of evolutionary design. Now, check your breath. Shallow, frantic chest movements. What happened? Life happened. Jobs, bills, screens. We traded the depth of our breath for the speed of modern survival. But here's the bombshell. A 2024 Johns Hopkins study found that adults who relearn baby breathing lower cortisol, the stress hormone, by 37% in 3 weeks. That's better than antidepressants. Ancient yogis called this returning to the womb of breath, not to become infants, but to reclaim biological divinity. Let's dissect the science. Babies breathe through their noses, engaging the diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle beneath the lungs. This isn't cute, it's strategic. Diaphragmatic breathing massages the vagus nerve, which regulates digestion, immunity, and emotional stability. By age 5, most kids lose this superpower. Why? School stress, social pressure, the sit still, chest out posture of modern education. We train ourselves into dysfunctional breathing. But here's where biology collides with spirituality. Yogis preserve this primal breath for millennia, calling it ujjayi, the victorious breath that fuels enlightenment. Now, let's get uncomfortably practical. Jeff Bezos isn't napping in $80,000 recovery pods for fun. He's mimicking baby sleep cycles, 20-minute bursts of deep belly breathing to reboot creativity. A Stanford study found that 11 minutes of daily diaphragmatic breathing boosts GABA, the brain's calm chemical, by 26%. Translation: you don't need a CEO's salary to think like one. Just steal this 3-step rebirth protocol from Himalayan shepherds. 1. Lion pose. Kneel, hands on thighs. Inhale deeply, then exhale with tongue out. Releases jaw tension from years of suppressed screams. 2. Humming breath. Inhale 4s, exhale 8s while humming. Vibrations stimulate the sinus's nitric oxide production, killing viruses. 3. Belly laugh. Fake it till you make it. Forced laughter triggers genuine endorphin release, resetting your breath to childhood rhythms. Do this for 3 minutes daily, and you'll rediscover a shocking truth. Stress is a choice. Not because problems vanish, but because you've reactivated your body's built-in reset button. But here's the spiritual kicker. Babies don't just breathe better, they metabolize emotions faster. When a toddler falls, they cries violently and then resumes playing 30 seconds later. Why? Their deep breaths flush cortisol instantly. Adults? We marinate in stress for decades. Yogis say this is why we age, not from time, but from stagnant breath. The Tao Te Ching warns, the stiff tree breaks, the bamboo bends, breathes, and survives. Yet, this isn't about nostalgia. It's about evolutionary urgency. Goats, dolphins, and every mammal except humans retain diaphragmatic breathing into adulthood. We're the only species that forgets and pays with chronic disease. But the fix is laughably simple. Breathe like you did before the world told you to suck it in. Before deadlines. Before heartbreaks. Before you traded wonder for worry. The bridge between human and divine isn't in some distant heaven. It's in the 2.5 centimeters between your chest and belly. Every deep breath is a homecoming. But this is just the prelude. But what if I told you that mastering this breath could unlock abilities beyond longevity? Up next, the forbidden yogic technique to store prana like a battery, used by 300-year-old monks to survive without food or water. You're not just learning to breathe, you're learning to become immortal. Part 5. Become a breath master. Here's the brutal truth. Your breath is either building you up or breaking you. Every shallow gasp ages you. Every intentional breath rebuilds you. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't wellness. This is biological alchemy. Ancient yogis called it pranayama, the science of stealing time. Modern labs confirm that just 5 minutes daily of this 4-4-6 rhythm, inhale 4s, hold 4s, exhale SIXS, can lengthen telomeres, DNA caps that dictate aging, by 10% in 8 weeks. You're not just breathing, you're editing your genetic code. Let's decode the magic. 1. Inhale 4s. Nasal breathing filters toxins and releases nitric oxide, a molecule so vital that Harvard calls it the fountain of youth in your sinuses. 2. Hold 4s. This pause isn't empty. It's when CO2 levels peak, dilating blood vessels and flooding cells with oxygen. Yogis say this is when prana, cosmic energy, enters. 3. Exhale SIXS. The extended exhale triggers the vagus nerve, scrubbing cortisol from your system like a power wash for your organs. But why 5 repetitions? Tibetan monks discovered 5 cycles create a resonance loop, syncing your rhythm with Earth's 7.83 Hz frequency. NASA uses this to stabilize astronauts' circadian rhythms. You're not meditating, you're astronaut training for life. Here's the kicker. This isn't complicated. You were born knowing it. Watch any sleeping baby. Their natural 4-4-6 rhythm is why they heal 3x faster than adults. But adulthood steals this gift. A 2023 study found office workers average 22 breaths/minute, the same as prey animals being hunted. You're not living, you're surviving. But today, you reclaim your birthright. Do this. Sit like a pharaoh with your spine straight. This aligns energy channels yogis call nadis. Breathe like a blacksmith. Imagine blowing life into a forge. Each exhale purges modern toxicity. Smile like a Buddha. Even forced smiles release dopamine, turning breath work into neurochemical warfare against stress. In 30 days, you'll wake up changed. Skin brighter. Focus laser sharp. Stress? a distant rumor. Why? Because you've hacked the oldest system on Earth, the one that turns air into aliveness. What if your breath could bend time? Every deep inhale isn't just oxygen, it's a rebellion against aging, a 3,000-year-old secret weaponized by yogis to cheat death. Science now confirms that slow breathing doesn't just lower stress, it rewrites your DNA, lengthening telomeres like biological clockwork. Think of turtles, those 500-year-old Zen masters of breath. You share their blueprint. But modernity hijacked it. Shallow chest breaths, cortisol floods, a life spent surviving instead of thriving. Here's your wake-up call. You're a spiritual being piloting a body, not the other way around. Ancient mystics called this prana. Psychologists call it parasympathetic dominance. I call it stealing back your power. Smash subscribe now, because next week, I'll drop a forbidden 2 a.m. ritual that triples prana storage, a technique so potent that Himalayan monks guard it like nuclear codes. But you'll learn it for free here. Until then, breathe like a god, laugh at stress, and drop a comment below with your #1 breathing struggle. Let's hack immortality together. Oh, and share this. Your frenemies deserve to suffer. Without this knowledge,